What's up, everybody? Kiefer here from Ghost Cult Magazine, ghostcultmag.com. We're here at the Watering Hole in Gramercy Park in New York City, and I'm here with the one and only Don Jamieson, metal fan, comedian extraordinaire, and we're here to talk about his new record that's out now on Metal Blade Records, Communication Breakdown. I'm not going to sing it, but I want to sing it. And it's a kick-ass comedy record, classically metal themed. Of course, you know Don from his work and that metal show and a bunch of other stuff Don has done. So we're going to talk about the record and a few other things, man. Thanks for joining us.
Sorry, I was just getting undressed.
Get undressed.
Hot around you, Keith.
I have that effect on people. So yeah, man, Communication Breakdown came out last month on Metal Blade, and it's definitely marked a change. I think a little more observational comedy for you, and a little more storytelling as opposed to just kind of punchlines and jokes. So, you know, how did you start working on that material? I know it was recorded last year in Ohio.
Well, the thing is, it's always with a comedy album is different than a band. When a band puts out a new album, they want to go out and tour and play the songs, and the audience wants to hear the new songs. When you do a comedy album, then it's the uphill climb to develop a whole new act. So whenever you put out an album, it's really fun as a comic, but then it's also like, now everybody's heard it, so now you can't do the same jokes in the club. So now I'm on the uphill climb to like develop new material. But yeah, for this one, I really thought like, I like to do a lot of jokes in an hour, but I also, this time I tried to do some more stories because I had some real unique stuff, like me and Eddie and Jim from that metal show trying to pathetically meet Johnny Depp at an Aerosmith party, and Kiefer Sutherland giving me a hickey, and you know, a lot of stuff that probably a lot of other comics aren't talking about. So I wanted to make them a part of doing this.
You had a very unique experience that you got to meet a lot of artists and bands that obviously you were a fan of, but also as sort of in our world as well, you interviewed bands on that metal show and other places. What kind of experience was that, and how did that sort of, you know, kind of shape more of your recent material?
Well, people would always ask, like, how did you guys prepare for interviews on that metal show? And I'd be like, well, we didn't really. I mean, we've been preparing our whole lives because it's the only music that we ever liked. So if we can't interview Alice Cooper for an hour, you know, then we really shouldn't be doing the show. So, but yeah, in terms of my comedy as well, it's you know, these all these bands and this music is such a big part of my life that it's going to be part of my comedy as well. So there's a big middle section here that's all about rock and hard rock and metal, and I break balls on a lot of bands, but it's only because I love them.
Nice. And of course, we know we were talking about you and Jim Florentine. I'm sure Eddie practices and prepares for everything like he has done for many years. But we don't want to incur the wrath of mighty Eddie Trunk. But
don't cross him.
No, I know. I've heard he can.
The Trunk Mafia will get you.
The Trunk Mafia. Oh my gosh. One thing that I think has been a thread in your career, but is really pronounced on Communication Breakdown, is PC and the concept of sort of everybody's too PC and safe, and you go right at it, right at the jugular. So I wanted to sort of get your take on that, and you know, how do you feel about those things?
Well, I think because we are in this very sensitive day and age, and I think there's something about letting the crowd know in a kind of an absurd way that okay, this stuff is all ridiculous. We're all in a nightclub tonight. It's okay to laugh, and I do like to do it through hard rock and metal bands, you know, and that's kind of how I present it on the album. Like I say, hey, we don't walk around calling Black Sabbath African American Sabbath. We don't call White Snake Caucasian Snake. You know, AC/DC's not bisexual Australians. And it's absurd to make the point of like, okay, yeah, and it kind of settles everybody, and it kind of lets them know, oh, all right, yeah, I got it, it's cool, we can just sit here and laugh tonight, and we don't have to worry about that anymore.
Awesome, man. One of my favorite parts of the record is how you interact with the crowd, and a lot of comedians do that, but it's pretty cool that you make it kind of personal without bullying, because that can, you know, wreck a show, and also still keeping the, you know, non-PC theme. But I love the shout out any band name, so I wanted to do a quick one of those with you, because how could I not? So I know in the album Van Halen gets referenced, so I was going to say, you know, pick out a band name and you'll go riff on them, right? So like Cheap Trick was one of them that came to my mind. If you had, you know.
Well, Cheap Trick's one of those bands that will make anybody turn 13 again. I saw them about 2 years ago in LA, and it was me, it was Eddie, Jim, Scott Ian, Corey Taylor, I think Dave Grohl was there, and there's all these kind of, you know, pretty big name guys in rock now, but we were all just 13 again, just singing every lyric to all the songs, and it's just such a cool thing because it just brings you all together and just reminds you of, like, this is where we all came from, you know? Like, no matter what anybody's doing now, this is where we all came from. You know, the classic bands, Cheap Trick, Kiss, all that stuff.
Cool, cool. I like that you mentioned Corey Taylor and Dave Grohl, because another theme on your record is that kind of where are the rock stars of tomorrow, because the old ones are all leaving us. I know you mentioned Lemmy. I know is a hero to you. I think you guys interviewed him and hung out with him, I'm sure, many times.
Yeah.
Do you have any good Lemmy stories to share? Because I'm sure we'd like to hear them.
Well, I think, you know, the greatest thing ever was, you know, as far as a heavy metal bucket list, is crossing off check that I had of Jack and Coke with Lemmy. You know, that was definitely the biggest thing. You know, as in terms of a guy like Grohl, you know, definitely don't drink Jägermeister with that guy, because he can throw down hard. But Lemmy with the Jack and Cokes, you could, you know, definitely have like one, maybe two at most, and then your legs are very rubbery, and then you have to sort of go, all right, Lem, I have to go do something else now. Because you can't drink with Lemmy. It's just too. He's got too much experience.
Too many miles. You know, rest in peace, Lemmy. We miss you.
Yeah, miss him a lot.
Too. And it's funny because it's really funny that there's sort of this older generation of fans and bands are sort of aging up together, and we don't know who the next generation of stars is going to be. Are there any current bands that you really dig on that maybe you see some of that sparking that used to get you excited?
Well, I guess there's really probably not going to be a lot of hard rock or metal bands that are really going to be able to fill, you know, stadiums or arenas anymore, unfortunately, just because of the way the music business is. But the cool thing is, like, Metallica has really helped a lot of bands. You know, they helped Volbeat out a lot, and now Volbeat's become really big. You know, Avenged Sevenfold, they've got out on the road with them. Those guys are big on their own now. But are they going to be able to tour for the next 20 years and do arenas? I don't know. You know, we'll see what happens. But I think we need more of that, where bands like Metallica take out other bands that are kind of on the verge of breaking and give them a chance in front of a big audience. And if they, you know, if they're good enough, they'll make it. If they're not, then, you know, they can go back to still playing wherever they've been playing. But I think that's important. The support in the business has to be there, where you have to give these bands a chance. You know, it starts at the local level, but it takes a band like Metallica or Iron Maiden to take these bands out and show them the ropes and give them an opportunity to play in front of a big crowd. My comedy idol is Angela Ice Clay, and I got the opportunity to go out and play big theaters and play in front of a few thousand people every night, and that really gave me my comedy legs, because before that, I only played a few hundred people in a club. I never played a theater in front of thousands of people. So that's a real different skill to have. And it's the same with bands. If you only ever played in front of your friends, you know, in your local club, how are you ever going to play an arena? So that's a big jump, but you got to have somebody to kind of take you there.
Awesome. There's actually a lot of comedians who are not closeted metalheads. They're real metalheads. I know, obviously, Posehn and Jim Norton are huge metalheads. Who else do we not know about? Who's a closeted metalhead in the comedy world?
No, I mean, most of us are pretty out in the open. You know, Brewer, Norton, Florentine, myself. Who else? You know who's a big metal fan is Hal Sparks.
Okay.
You know Hal Sparks?
Sure.
He's a big metalhead, and also this guy Chuck Nice, who's a New York comic, is a huge metalhead too. So they're out there, but the difference is there's certain guys who are into metal, and then there's certain guys who will go out and open for bands, and there's not too many of those. That's like me, Florentine, Craig Gass, and that's about it. There's only a few of us who'll go, yeah, I'll go in front of 5,000 screaming kids who've been drinking all day and are sweaty and are expecting a metal show, but then I'll go out and do some comedy. What the hell?
Nice. And speaking of big shows, who are you more excited for this summer, Metallica or Maiden?
I'm definitely, more excited for Metallica. I've been a Maiden fan forever and ever, but I've seen them a bunch over the last few years, and I've actually missed Metallica probably the last time I saw them was before the Death Magnetic tour, so it's been a while. So I really like the new album. Excited to, they always play a lot of the new songs live, which I love, you know. A lot of bands put out an album, they play one song, but I'm pretty psyched, and I heard the production is like over the top crazy. So yeah, I think Metallica, I'm gonna be doing Rock on the Range in Columbus, Ohio this year. They're gonna headline the Sunday night, so I'll see them there. Can't wait to go.
Sold out Rock on the Range, pretty much with Metallica, which is unreal.
Yeah.
It's already, you know, the biggest music event for rock and metal fans
100,000 tickets sold
Right.
every year to that. So when you hear Rock is Dead, you go, well,
Maybe not.
It's not.
Maybe not. Anyway, I think for a last thing, I just wanted to ask you again, sort of in your career or in your life, what's the band or the artist you saw that would have been your bucket list interview that you didn't get to?
Wow, that I didn't get to. Well, I was happy with everybody we ever interviewed on that metal show, for better or for worse. But obviously, you know, we never got Gene and Paul from Kiss for whatever various reasons, and Ozzy from because of maybe a little rift between Eddie and Sharon. But no, I don't miss out on it. I obviously wish we would have interviewed them. Their fans would have liked to have seen them on that metal show. You know, Eddie Van Halen was cool enough to send us one of his amps for our guest guitar player, but it would have been cooler if like he could have followed up with himself after the amp. But you know, to each his own. Nobody was obligated to do the show, but we were honored by everybody that did. So you know, for me, it was all about promoting bands, you know, and just keeping the word out there. If it was only wearing a T-shirt of a band or holding up their CD for 5 minutes or for 15 seconds, I think that made a big difference with a lot of people. So that's really what we tried to do. And but we had definitely had some real fun people on over the years. You know, Alice Cooper is one of my favorites. Brian Johnson from AC/DC was amazing. You know, Manson came in and Absinthe Stupor. That was fun. Ted Nugent took over our show. So there's been a lot of cool people. So I don't look at it more as who we didn't get as, wow, look at all the cool people that we did get.
That's awesome. I know the show is missed, and I know a lot of people are hoping for a comeback. But in the meantime, catch Don. Check out his new CD, Communication Breakdown.
That's a
out now.
1988 Don Jamieson.
That is
right
is it the college yearbook, right?
College yearbook photo. That look worked in Jersey in the late 80s, believe it or not.
Yeah, the Bronx too. We all had that hair. So
yeah, the sort of like business in the front, party in the back.
that's it, man.
And then the Modern Me on the back cover there. And no, I'm real happy with it. And all these bands that we just talked about, I talk about on here, and lots of other cool stuff. And yeah, I appreciate the time.
All right, man. Don Jamieson, thanks so much for your time. Sergeant in the Kiss Army. I'm Keith from Ghost Cult. We're out.